Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wyld. Today we are talking about how to set work hours and auto-classify drives in MileIQ. One of MileIQ's best time-saving features is its ability to auto-classify drives for you. Most drivers don't realize that setting up work hours can cut down on manual swipes and help keep their mileage logs cleaner with less effort. However, this can be misused if you don't know some of the nuances behind it or some of the challenges that could be met if it's not kept up to date. So in this video, we are talking about how to set work hours and auto-classify drives in MileIQ, how it actually is for gig workers and other professions who must track their miles, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain as never intended to be legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that everything that we're going to be going over is very market to market and case by case, and what applies to me in my market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started. Why setting work hours matters and when to skip it. Every mile you drive counts towards your deduction, but classifying hundreds of trips manually can be an absolute chore. MileIQ's work hours features lets you automatically classify drives during certain times of the day and can be a huge time saver if you have a fairly consistent schedule. But here's the thing. Gig work isn't always predictable. Some weeks you might work mornings, some weeks you might work late nights, some weeks you might hop on just when the apps are busy, and sometimes you might have to only go on during weird times of the day. If your hours are all over the place, auto-classification might actually create more work for you by incorrectly labeling trips you didn't actually take for business. So work hours are great if you have a set schedule, like a weekday, lunch, dinner shifts, or regular route work. But if you work on demand, you could skip this feature and just classify trips manually, like once or twice a week, to keep your log clean without risking mistakes. How to set work hours in MileIQ. So from your classification screen, you're going to go to the settings page. Find the work hours section. I currently have mine disabled and frequent drives on. And if you do want to set your work hours, you could set up your schedule that way. And you could also set classified drives outside of your work hours if you want to work the opposite. Now, you could set this up from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6, or you could go for something closer to the evenings, like 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. if you're like really late night gig work. But regardless, if you do want to do that, you need to make sure that the classified drives during work hours and outside work hours are turned on. Personally, I don't like to turn them on because my schedule's all over the place. But what you can do, and something I recommend doing, is if you know you're gonna be working during that period of time, set it for that, but don't set drives outside work hours because you could end up working later than you want to. Pro tips for using work hours. So I do have a couple of pro tips that I think could be useful to gig workers, or really anybody who has to classify their drives. Review weekly. Auto-classification is great, but you still have to review your trips like once or twice a week to catch any personal drives that happen during work hours. Like you decided to take a lunch break, or you decided to do something during those work hours that is more for yourself, like getting your own groceries or what have you. And this is especially important if you're like a parent or something and you have to pick up your kid for school, you have a medical appointment. And let's say it's more on the positive side and you're rushing out for an urgent client meeting. Catching those exemptions can keep your logs accurate and protect you if you ever get audited. Consider your work style. Now, if you have like a rotating schedule or some kind of hybrid schedule to where you're working a W-2 job that changes every week, but you also do gig work on the side, be careful with auto classification. Work hours may not reflect your real driving patterns, and it could mislabel drives if you're not careful. careful. In this case, weekly or daily classification reviews are your best bet to keep your logs accurate, so work hours may not be your best tool. Use categories for multiple gigs. If you do different types of gig work, like you do construction projects in busy months and delivery work in slower months, set up categories for each income stream. This will keep your mileage reports organized and make it clear to your CPA or tax professional which miles are tied to which type of work. Stay flexible. Your schedule and income mix can change throughout the year, especially if you're building something for yourself and business-wise. As your business grows, you might spend more time with administrative work, client meetings, marketing, which shifts when and how you drive. Update your work hours and categories whenever your routine changes, so your log always reflects how you're actually spending your time. Working with a tax professional. Even with the perfect work hours setup, a tax professional can help you decide whether the standard mileage deduction or actual expenses can save you more money. Make sure your deductions are correct and guide you on your quarterly tax payments. And I recommend for especially gig workers to use a gig-focused tax service like GigTax. Because whether you're a rideshare driver, do food delivery, or any sort of self-employed work, your time is too valuable to be wasting on tax prep. So while you keep hustling, GigTax can help you save big and keep your records working for you and not against you. GigTax was founded by Joseph Mayo, a seasoned gig worker with over 7,000 deliveries across 7 platforms since 2020, and they understand the challenges of freelancers, rideshare drivers, couriers, online sellers, and gig workers of all kinds. Their #1 tax preparation service is designed to help you maximize your savings and save you time, energy, and money. So enjoy exclusive discounts on electronic and state filing, year-round direct access to tax pros and financial partners, a client app and portal with audit support, all absolutely free and incredibly valuable benefits when filing with GigTax. So if you're ready to keep more of what you earn, check out drivenwild.com/GigTax to book your strategy session and learn more about how GigTax can help you simplify and save on your taxes today. And with all of that said, let's get back to the video. Why this saves you money. By cutting down on manual classification, you're less likely to miss trips or leave drives unclassified, both of which can cost you money and tax time. Accurate and consistent logs means you get every deduction you're entitled to and avoid IRS headaches. But just as important as regularly reviewing your trips helps catch unusual events like last-minute school trip pickups, doctor's office, and urgent client calls, make sure they're all classified correctly. This not only keeps your reports clean, but also prevents you from accidentally over or under claiming miles. Here's the real bonus though. Automating and streamlining this process frees up your time for higher value work. Instead of spending hours on manual bookkeeping, you can focus on growing your business, finding better paying gigs, or just taking more orders. Time saved is money earned elsewhere. Setting work hours in MileIQ could be a huge time saver, but it's not a set it and forget it feature. The real power comes with combining it with weekly reviews, custom categories, and flexibility as your schedule and business changes. Don't forget the most valuable benefit of MileIQ, time freedom. By letting MileIQ handle the busy work of tracking and classifying drives, you can shift your focus on what actually grows your income, taking more orders, finding better paying opportunities and gigs, and building out your own business opportunities. And finally, work with a tax professional, such as a gig-focused tax pro or service like GigTax can take your clean and accurate mileage logs and make sure you're maximizing deductions, staying compliant, and staying ahead of quarterly taxes. And if you haven't tried MileIQ today, what are you doing? Now is the perfect time. Sign up with MileIQ. A link is going to be in the description. Unlock automatic mileage tracking today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure to check out my website, drivenwild.com, to learn more about some of the services and gig platforms we have talked about in the past and are offering to gig workers today. If you want to stay on the cutting edge of what's happening in the gig economy today and be in the know of what most people are talking about, make sure to check out our new channel, the Gone Wild Live Clips and Podcasts, where we take the live streams we hold on Thursday Thursdays at 9 p.m. and cut them down to more digestible clips and have them posted there. Also, check out my Patreon for more exclusive clips, full-length live stream replays, and other membership perks for self-employed individuals who want to grow and scale their business. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.
Rise up, shake off that 9 to 5 rust. In this wild world of hustle we trust. Break them all, leave them all in dust. Driven was the only wave of must.